We're coming today to consider question 17. Last time we were thinking about how when Adam sinned, we all sinned with him. When Adam fell, we all fell with him. Adam stood as our representative. We all would come from him. We'd all be generated from him, and we all sinned with him. So question 17 asks then, into what estate did the fall bring mankind? We have been thinking of how mankind started in a state, a relationship with God, a perfect relationship with God. We were a state where we were righteous, how we lived, how we thought, how we walked. It was right with God. We lived in a world of such beauty and harmony. It was a state of absolute bliss and peace. That's the original state in which mankind was formed in the Garden of Eden. The question is, into what estate did the fall bring mankind? What is our new situation because of the fall of Adam in sin? A fall which we all share in. Well, the answer is the fall brought mankind into an estate of sin and misery. Oh, that's not very pretty, is it? Just compare that to the Garden of Eden. Compare to the bliss, the joy, the peace, the love that Adam and Eve experienced in the Garden of Eden. Everything was in perfect harmony. There was no pain. There was no suffering. There was no conflict. There was no fear. And that all disappeared and replaced by sin and misery. Sin speaks of our guilt, our corruption, what we have become. Misery speaks of the results of that sin. How joy is replaced with sadness. How indeed a life of contentment is replaced with a life of suffering. The fall brought mankind into an estate of sin and misery. To understand the world around us, why the world is so wicked, why people do such wicked things, it goes back to that fall of Adam into sin. To understand why there's so much suffering and pain in the world around us, it's because of the fall of Adam has brought us into a place of misery. Now we'll expand on that in the next couple of talks on this. But that just gives us an idea of just the terrible change that's happened because of Adam's sin. In recent days, we've been thinking a lot, I'm sure, about Prince Andrew and what has happened to him, and someone who was a respected royal, who had all the privileges of the royal family and had an honour that went with it, and how he fell from grace because of scandal. Now, I'm not going to get into all the rights and wrongs of that, and I don't know all the rights and wrongs, but here we have someone who was in a state of such honour and joy and privilege, and he falls from it because of the scandal, because of what he has done or been involved in. And it's the same with us. The other thing I think about Prince Andrew is I think of what the Queen must think. Her son, a son who she loves, a son who she respected, a son who she guided. And now he loses so much privilege, so much respect because of what he has done. And I just think of the fall of mankind into this estate of sin and misery. How God the Father must feel as he walked with Adam in the cool of the day and shared with Eve the bliss, the joy, the happiness that was there. And now that's all replaced with sin and misery being the hallmarks of mankind. Oh, how sad. We must face up to this. Remember, we began this section on sin by talking about what Calvin said: true wisdom has two parts, a knowledge of God and a knowledge of ourselves. A knowledge of ourselves includes this knowledge of the sin and the misery that we have come into because of sin. Amen.